Hi guys, so yeah, you'd have seen in some recent videos, obviously I've got a lot of HeroQuest miniatures and D&D miniatures, and I wanted to sort of make a display case kind of diorama for them to sort of live in, really. Just as a nice way of showing them off, and yeah, just been able to see them rather than them get put in a drawer, knocked about and all the rest. So this is the first one I made. As I mentioned in the video when I made this one, I'm going to make several of these. They are magnetised, so they can attach together, which is pretty cool. I'm going to make them sort of like layers, well, proper layers. So starting off at the top is going to be a tavern, and then as they go down, obviously go into the dungeons, and then go into the lower dungeons. So this is obviously the first of the dungeons. And as you can see, it's got the miniatures in there for the heroes. But I've also been printing and painting some, well, some mob bosses, some rather large figures. So see, these are on 50mm bases. So say this is going to be used for some HeroQuest stuff and some, well, some D&D stuff. So I've already made a template up for the box size, as well. All the boxes are going to be kind of like similar in how they look. So definitely the dungeon floors. So again, check out the video. I'll leave a link up above where you can see the video of me cutting these out. So these are all cut out on the Creality Falcon 2 Pro. Again, I'll leave some links down below, and say go and check out the video of me cutting this out. As yeah, it was awesome because obviously it cuts things out lovely and square, but it also cuts out all the brick shapes as well as the round holes to accommodate the miniatures, which is great. So obviously I've got the basic thing there, but I now need to print out a load of, well, greeblies just to sort of make the room look how, well, I want the room to look. So this is going to be the treasure room. So that's why I've printed out, there's a few chests here, there's some shields here, obviously a nice big portcullis gate there, as this one is going to hold, well, the bigger size bosses. And all these bits are going to be printed out on my Frozen Sonic Mighty 8K, which is currently living, well, it's almost like it's living under the stairs. So I might actually change the name of my printer to Potter, as yeah, it's in a little, well, a little nook and cranny. I'm not too sure if that's the right term or not. But yeah, so I've got my little frame here with my bits and pieces, so good old resin at the top there. Definitely the priming matte colours, which I absolutely love. Printer, a little work area there to get the prints off, and then obviously some resin, which we, well, definitely need to print things out. So yeah, I love my little Frozen Mighty 8K here. It sits nicely in its little area. And if you've seen any of our previous videos, yeah, you'll see I made a few changes to this because obviously these lids normally slot off the top, but obviously there's no room for that. So yeah, I cut mine in half, and I put this this nice rubber thing around the edge. The cut was nice and clean. This just makes it a nicer connection when it butts up against the other half. But yeah, I've cut it in half so I can get to the build plates and the resin vat just to sort of fill it up with, well, more resin. And yeah, absolutely love love what I've done here. Why I've not done this before, I don't know, because normally, say, you have to slot the top off, which means you can't have anything above it. And yeah, using the old ABS resin, which I've used a couple of times now. Yeah, love this stuff for the miniatures because it does give them a bit more flex, so you know they're not going to like snap when you drop them. Not that I tend to drop my miniatures, but just in case. So yeah, as always guys, everything I use in my videos, links down below. So yeah, go check out Frozen and their Mighty 8K here. And I just love how easy it is to use their printer. Yeah, pop in your little USB, push a couple of buttons, and away she pops. Or should that be away he pops, as yeah, this is now called Potter, or Harry Potter, or just Harry the printer. So while it's doing its thing, I want to say a shout out and thank you to all my lovely patrons. As well, with your support guys, it does mean I can do this full time and be a big kid, which is just absolutely awesome. So a big shout out and thank you to all you lovely people. And there we go, a few hours later, loads of little greebly bits of, well, whatever I basically need to fill out these rooms. So say each floor is going to be sort of a bit different. This one, say, is definitely going to be the treasure room. I have just started working on the one that's going to be below this, and that's going to be more of the sewers. So what I'm kind of thinking is as the layers go down, they get a bit more dirty, a bit more grungier. But so that's why this one's going to be nice and neat and sort of, well, relatively tidy. As yeah, this is going to be the treasure room. So yeah, every dungeon needs a treasure room, and I think that's another good reason why I think I like the idea of doing it for this floor, where I'm going to put the bosses. As yeah, you need to sort of fight some bosses to get the treasure. So everything's just going to be glued on, and yeah, good old super glue for this. So in my mind, I do have like a rough idea of what I'm doing. But then also I do kind of wing it quite a bit, or sometimes change what I'm doing as I get a different idea when I'm when I'm printing bits out. So but yeah, so this one definitely plenty of bits of gold, obviously the treasure chests, and yeah, I like the idea of some shields up at the back, just because again this room's meant to hold loot and plunder. So yeah, good old shields and definitely plenty of gold. And talking of gold, as I'm going to have sort of piles of it, rather than using loads and loads of the gold stuff I've got, yeah, I'm just using like the old plasticine sort of stuff. Again, I always forget what this stuff's called. It's basically two parts or two different sort of stuff that you mix together. And yeah, after about, good 3-4 hours, it goes rock hard. And I say it's just great for sort of packing areas out. In this case, yeah, I want my treasure chests at an angle, but also want to have piles of this here and there, just to then put, all that lovely gold on afterwards. So now comes the fun part of good old painting. So I primed everything with a matte black. I've left the lid off just for the moment, just to obviously make it easier for me to, to be able to paint everything. And yeah, doing the usual, everything's primed in black, and now going to be dry brushed with good old white. So I've still got my textured dry brush palette that I've had quite some time, although I may need to print out a new one soon, as this does have quite a lot of layers of paint on it now, which means, it's not as textured as it once was. As I certainly use this in, pretty much every video I make, because obviously I'm painting things in every video I make. And doing the dry brushing is still one of my favourite things to do, just because you get to see all that lovely definition in, whatever miniature it is you've got, or terrain, or, in this case, obviously, thing that I've built. And I absolutely love using the laser engraver by Creality. As I say, the fact that it can engrave into wood and plastics and other things is just amazing, as it does make making these walls and floors, so easy. Yeah, rather than making individual sort of tiles and bricks and stuff, yeah, the laser engraver just cuts out everything awesomely. And yeah, loving how this is looking. So I'm going to keep this with a similar style to the other dungeon I made. And then that's using the old sort of zombie greenish looking paint. Just because this gives the walls a nice, a bit of a dirty, slimy looking colour. And as I say, each floor is going to get dirtier. So I've just started working on the sewer one that's going to go below this one. And yeah, that really is going to be grimy and slimy, and yeah, lots of fun to build, but also to look at. As I say, I really wanted a nice way of displaying my miniatures, just so I can see them nicely. So these things don't take up a lot of room. I may add some bits to the back so these can be sort of wall hung, and the batteries the magnets that I'm using, these are very strong, as in you can lift them up by just holding the top one. You can lift up about 3 or 4 of these different floors, which is just awesome. Especially as I do have quite a lot of miniatures now. Obviously painted and still a few unpainted, as I am going through the boxes of HeroQuest add-on extra packs, whatever they're called. Yeah, so I do have a lot of miniatures ready to paint that are painted, and yeah, this is just an awesome way of being able to sort of keep looking at them, really. And as mentioned in the first video I did of this, so this is the second one, obviously the second floor. Yeah, I think for the moment I'm just going to have 3 sort of dungeon floors, but then I'm going to have 2 floors above, which are going to be in the tavern. So I might do like the first floor could just be like the first floor of a tavern, so it'll show like the bar area, and then maybe a floor above it could show, I don't know, like a dining area, a seated area, maybe even the bedrooms, or maybe even just loads of books. I'm not too sure. So guys, if you have any ideas of what sort of rooms I should do, yeah, let me know in the comments. As I say, I'm going to make 7, I think, in this sort of pack. But the great thing is I could make some more of these, rather have them all sort of like on top of each other. So it could almost be like a 6-foot high display case diorama. Or could be like separate ones here and there. But so I think definitely the idea of wall mounting them does appeal to me, yeah, quite a lot. As you can see, yeah, I'm loving these chrome paints by Green Stuff World, as they are, they have this super shiny. You'll have seen me recently paint the Minotaurs with these. And yeah, so you get the light on this and it is very reflective, which is pretty cool. And the last few stages of painting here, yeah, putting some wash over some areas just to, again, I don't want things to look too neat and tidy. Even in the treasure room, I want it to look a little bit sort of weathered, beaten and battered. I was considering putting some cobwebs in this one, or I might save them for the sewer one that's going to be below this one. And then the last little bit of painting to do is, well, I just want to highlight where these torches are, and just sort of make the walls look a little bit brighter around them. If you've seen my last or latest video, you'll have seen me print out some of these torches, but life size. As yeah, what I really want to do is have a, well, sort of like a dungeon looking studio. So yeah, I was really pleased that I could print these little things out full size, and yeah, they looked awesome, especially obviously with LEDs in them to, well, make them flash, blink and sort of light up. So as you can see, yeah, just very simple sort of like OSL here. Yeah, do things white first, then a little bit of yellow, and then finishing it off with a little bit of orange, just to say, give it that little bit of a glow. And yeah, again, nice and simple, but I think quite effective there. And now comes the fun bit of adding loads of gold. But what I need to do is, well, paint the underneath bits gold, just in case when I put the little gold flecks on top, you can see of anything underneath. So yeah, just a case of going round, again, a good old chrome, because it really is just so shiny. And yeah, sometimes you will see little lens flares. And this is just me filming with a camera, so nothing fancy there. There's no fancy lights, but yeah, but still, this stuff is that shiny. It does seem to cause quite a reflection on the old lens there. So I know I normally leave links to everything I use. Unfortunately, this glitter stuff, I've had this, I don't know, I had this a good couple of years. Don't really use it that much. So I've got two different types here. One that's like, well, like little coins, and the other one is very faint sort of dust. And then yeah, simply a case of going around gluing it in place. So going to use a good old PVA glue here, because obviously it's nice and cheap. There's loads of it, and yeah, I don't need this stuff to dry instantly. Plus, when you do use super glue on these little tinsely bits, it can dry and leaves all white streak marks, which obviously isn't good. So again, using the good old cheap PVA glue works definitely better for this, as this stuff dries super clear, and yeah, it doesn't discolour the little gold flecks in any kind of way. So now comes the fun messy bit, and that's just basically shaking this stuff all over the place. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of A4 greaseproof paper underneath this, just to try and collect all this stuff up. As I mean, this stuff is cheap, but yeah, you don't want to waste it, so it can all be reused. So instantly, say, that's why I love using these little flakes. There's a lot of shine to these. And again, I've only got one simple light above my desk that I'm using, so it's not like I'm shining a super light on here. But yeah, already the camera is picking up a lot of lens flare there, which looks obviously really good when you're doing the cinematic kind of shots, which is cool. Yeah, as you can see here, super lens flare, it's gone nuts. So just to sort of secure everything in place, I've got some very much watered down PVA, and I've got my sort of cheap plastic syringe thingy just to sort of pull it up. Again, the great thing with the PVA is it doesn't matter where it goes, it'll just dry, and it doesn't dry glossy. It's almost like a matte sort of thing. So yeah, left it for a good 24 hours, everything's dried, everything's firm in its place, and yeah, absolutely love it. So for the lid, obviously I want to put lights in these, which is what I've done with the other one, just as I love using lights, well, as much as I love using magnets. And again, this will just help illuminate the thing when it's a little bit darker. And yeah, I say I just love using lights, to be honest. So each floor has got its own lights. Again, because of the bottom one, the sewer one that I'm currently making, I am going to be putting some sort of like green LED lights in there. Again, just to give it that little, well, that little added atmosphere of being slimy and yucky. And these little lights, yeah, they're very cheap. These are all off Amazon. Normally get a pack of about 12 for about £10, I think, which is pretty cool. So this is a case of gluing this all in place. Yeah, didn't bother filming it because it is a case of me, well, a little dab of glue, and moving on, another dab of glue, and there we go. So yeah, there it is. It's all done. I loved how this looked, but then I thought, oh, I can make it a little bit better because it looks a little bit too plain with just the gold. So I've got these teeny tiny, well, I'm not sure, crystal beads. I think these are meant to go on your nails. I'm not too sure what they're meant to be used for, but they're the right size for me to put in this. And the good thing with these things is, because they are very fiddly, but the good thing is, obviously on the back of them, it looks silver. So that's why I didn't worry too much if they went on upside down, because they'd rather show whatever sort of colour they are, like a little gem, or they'd be reflective silver. They do come with a little, like a dabber, so you can sort of pick them up and put them on one at a time. Yeah, I didn't like the idea of doing one at a time, so as you can see, I've just used my finger, they've stuck to it, and then I'll just sort of put loads here and there. So this is what I was saying about some of these bits going white. This is obviously what I found out after me gluing the things. Yeah, using super glue on those shiny little gold things doesn't always do it, but sometimes when it dries, it does leave like a white patch. So yeah, this is where I should really have used PVA glue, because it works a lot better than the super glue. But yeah, I love these little gems. I say they are the perfect size. Again, I'm not sure. I just put in Amazon little gems, or nail gems, I think is what these are. So yeah, look up nail gems, you'll get these. And say a whole variety of colours. And say the great thing is, on the reverse side, it is silver. So it really doesn't matter if these go in upside down, left or right, or whatever. And there we go. I love it. I think it's awesome. Say the reflectiveness of this is just insane. But yeah, it looks great. And here's my big boss mobs. And yeah, these are a lovely set. These are on 50mm bases, so these are all big. I love the big rats. These were meant to be smaller rats, but again, good old 3D printer supersized them and made them, well, exactly how I wanted them to be. And that's kind of that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Let me know what you might want to see me do in the future. I say I've got a few more ideas for these display cases, and they'll definitely be coming out, well, very soon. And I think making each layer individual, yeah, it really does work out well, because then I can mix and match them. I can move them around, and yeah, I can make them exactly how I want. And I say having magnets is, yeah, so these things really are, well, stuck together. So if you see obviously my little smoke videos at the beginning, yeah, I'm using this little Kostronic little smoke machine. Basically it's like a vape gun inside there, and yeah, I just love this. So yeah, magnets, dry brushing, smoke machines, yeah, absolutely love it. Okay guys, you all take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.